Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today we're showcasing Juggernaut's brand new uniform, his first ever, and what big upgrades this character has made since he was last introduced in 2018. So we're going to be going through and showing that he's actually kind of proc friendly, but ultimately we want to hone in on a different use for the character. But of course, it's up to you and what you want to do. So there we go, 15 or 25 seconds into the run, and we're actually already into the next phase, and that is due to the insane accumulation that he has. The sort of, rapid damage, the Sharon Rogers type of accumulation when he gets hit. And oh, is he tanky enough to just take those hits and keep going? Well, you take a look here. Yes, he certainly is. He is not going to be the highest damage villain from this latest update, but he may be the highest in terms of tankiness, minus Hulk tier 4. So if you're the type of player who doesn't mind getting hit, who likes getting hit, who, doesn't want to die to various effects, you are really going to want to take a good look at Juggernaut if you haven't built up. If you don't have him built up at all, it's a bit tougher of a sell here, or sort of, justification. I'm not trying to sell the character to you. But if you already have him, then this uniform could definitely be for you. Now, as you're going to see here, when you don't accumulate, his damage is not so great. We do barely a bar and 3/4. But when you can get that accumulation to pop, he rips it for 10 plus bars. Yeah. And even without the awakening skill, again, if you can get the accumulation to go, he's still going to push you for 3-4 bars. So what I really like about this character is he combines like super tankiness with high movement speed, which we don't see very often, and it's a huge departure from lately. Can I take this? Can I tank this? Ooh, he can tank one of those. Okay, that's kind of impressive. But it's a huge departure from what we've seen lately from characters like Storm, where they're just super duper slow. He still has that charge skill. It's not as useful as it used to be. That's sort of like Juggernaut charging type skill, but you definitely can use it at the end of your combo. And his V-pad skill is actually his third skill, where he spins around. But you're actually going to be canceling that skill most of the time if you're using him with a sort of regular proc build or like a CTP of energy type thing, because of the fact that it just gives you the accumulation right away, the buff right away, and then you can focus on smashing and just doing the higher damage skills like 5 and 4. We're doing a slight delay cancel on 4, and you'll notice that I cancel as soon as he slams down. The first slam, I cancel. You can't really hear it because I'm talking and because there's all these other effects going on, but there's actually a pretty audible, he makes like a sound, like a sound, and it's really satisfying. I actually think I was still talking. It happens right at the beginning when you press the 4th skill. But anywho, yeah, this is what you can expect from Juggernaut. This is a double support, 25% pierce, showcase, I guess you could call it. But we're going to end up doing this in about a minute 30, it looks like. We can actually try here, if we can accumulate, to finish him off here. Oh, there we go. Awesome, a minute 45. So that's pretty clean for a proc obelisk. Again, why you would put an obelisk on a premium character and then give them double support might sound a bit off to you, but I wanted to showcase that he is proc friendly. And then I want to then go into the sort of the build recommendations and things like that. Because Juggernaut, I think, he represents sort of the best and worst of Marvel Future Fight. So I want to make this video sort of bigger than it is. But anyways, I want to show you first that 4th skill, because we don't actually have that many characters that make really audible sounds during skills. And I really like the fact that Juggernaut does. So check this out. Again, it's a weird sound. He's like, ah! It's almost alien. It's almost alien. But it's really cool, and it really gives me the vibe, because he honestly looks like the alien from Ben 10. So it honestly gives me that vibe, and I really like it. So yeah, you do 3, cancel 4, boom, and then go into 5, and the belly flop would end your combo. Now, one thing I do want to explain to you now, so we don't have to come back to this area, to the skill preview here, is I want to show you how many hits his combo has, okay? So you're canceling 3 right away, and then you're canceling 4 after the first hammer hit, and then you're going into 5. So this is the full combo. 4 normally has 25 hits, but you're canceling it, so you lose 5 hits. So your sort of main combo deals only 48 hits. right? And it's going to vary a little bit. Sometimes it's going to be 47, 49, but less than 50 hits, okay? So remember, I want you to keep that in mind. Of course, it's more hits when you include the Transcended skill, but you can only, I believe you can only cancel one skill in skill preview while it counts up the number of hits. I think if you cancel more than one skill, it usually doesn't count up the number of hits. But anyways, I'm not 100% sure. The point I'm trying to make is, if you wanted to go ahead, so this was the build that I used, right? It's a 140 proc, ignore, dodge, crit rate obelisk. So he could have done that much faster. So he is proc friendly, and I do think he's quite good if you can get the accumulation to rock. However, a couple of things here holding him back. One, he doesn't have any ignore dodge natively. So 0 ignore dodge natively means that he's going to be pretty bad against any other boss, because Null, Gore, and Infinity Ultron all need some level of ignore dodge. Null and Gore probably needing the most. Mephisto, however, doesn't. And although we have gotten a lot of good combat types recently, you know, Juggernaut still fits that bill, and he has that crazy healing, that crazy survivability, and he has the damage taken accumulation. Mephisto is by far the best boss to use damage accumulation, damage taken characters. But you can see how on higher levels, some of those characters with low healing, like Sharon Rogers, they struggle. So even though Sharon Rogers can easily cap out her accumulation, and she can deal crazy burst damage to Mephisto, take a look here, 69,000 HP. I didn't prep this on purpose. It just happens to be 69,000. Very low HP, very low defenses, and her heal is only 10%. On the flip side, again, although it's a different typing, he's male, she's female, he's blast, whatever, villain, etc. You know, he's combat. His healing is insane. He has a 5% basic heal here. He has another heal on his passive when he gets below, or no, he doesn't have, he's at cleanse when his HP is below 40%. He has damage reduction, and then he has a heal on his 4th skill for 30%. Right? So he's never going to die against Null or against Mephisto, and he's also going to be able to max out that accumulation very, very easily, and it's a 10-second accumulation. So that means that it's just, honestly, Juggernaut is probably going to be one of the easiest characters to use versus Mephisto. However, how would you build him for Mephisto? Well, I showed that he's kind of proc friendly. Sometimes you proc a little bit early because you do need to wait for that first slam. So there's always a possibility that first slam triggers your proc. It's unlikely. So I'd say he's like maybe an 8 or a 9 out of 10 on the consistency scale for procking. But why would you give him a CTP of energy? If you give him a CTP of energy, yeah, it covers up the ignore dodge gap that he has, so he's going to be a lot more consistent versus Null and other bosses. But he doesn't have any chain hit damage, so that's the first bit of chain hit damage you're going to give him. 1 and 2, he doesn't have that many hits on his combo, right? 48 hits is not it's not a spicy 3-piece combo or a spicy 5-piece combo from Popeyes. It's like a 2-piece with no biscuit and no drink. So your mouth with a biscuit and no drink, so your mouth is going to be dry as hell. So I kind of think that you might be better off with a rage on him, because what a rage lets you do is a rage lets you open up and use the 3rd skill. So what you can do, because it's a long accumulation against Mephisto, you can actually open up with the 3rd skill and actually spin around and accumulate, because he's not in an iframe when he's spinning around. And then as soon as your rage procs and you've accumulated a little bit, then you can cancel into 4, blam, 6, and then 5, or just 5 or whatever. Because as you can see, his animation, it wraps up pretty quickly, right? If you take out the amount of time here, this wraps up in under 5 seconds, right? It's a pretty quick burst, and it's, again, not that many hits, right? 80 hits on 3 targets, not that many hits. So that's kind of what I'm thinking, but the stuff that I just explained is sort of why he represents the best of Marvel Future Fight, because this is a really good rework for Juggernaut, and he's quite flexible to build. You can build him in different ways. He looks really cool. He's got all these unique aesthetic features. He's got that sound effect, right? In that sense, he represents the best of Marvel Future Fight. So why did I say that he represents the best and worst of the game? Well, because why would you even build him for PvE at all? Look at his stats, 120,000 HP, Alex. Do you even have HP Urus? I have 4. He could still take another 4 plus Odin's Blessings on top of that. Do you have his artifact? No. Do you have... Oh, okay, you have Power Vanguard Hulk. You don't even have a defensive ISO 8 set. Do you have double HP rolled on his uniform? Oh, no. You could roll that physical attack to even more HP. And then you could give him a regen or something like that. You could stack this boy's HP. You could make him the thickest dude ever. And he has healing, and he has damage reduction, and he's got all this crazy stuff. He's got the cleanse. He's got incapacitation. He's got iframe ignore. and he's got the accumulation when damage taken, right? He looks like a much beefier version of Luke Cage minus the reflect. But you're not going to build him for PvP. Why would you do that, right? Why would you build him for PvP when you can build him for PvP? And that's why I'm saying he represents the worst of Marvel Future Fight. Because I really want to say, yo, build your Juggernaut for PvP. He looks sick. Look at that armor. Look at that creepy face. I want to be slam jamming people in PvP with Juggernaut. But there's no point. How is Juggernaut going to compete with my 200k HP Hulk or somebody else's? The answer is he's not going to compete with him. He's just not. There's just a better version of him, right? And of course, we're always going to run into that problem in a game with 250 pending, 249 characters, right? Of course, Alex, not every character is going to be top of the meta. How can you have multiple characters top of the meta? Well, if I played Alliance Conquest, that's a humongous if, by the way. That's like a Kim Kardashian level if, then I would have a much better use for him. So you AC heads should probably be drooling over this guy because he's obviously going to be a menace for Alliance Conquest with that crazy amount of HP healing and damage reduction. However, I really wish there was an alternative. And in fact, Marvel Future Revolution, okay, I know it's like saying Voldemort in a Harry Potter theater, but Marvel Future Revolution is just releasing this new game mode soon. They just teased it in a dev note called Squad Battle. But it's actually a PvP game mode. And it's a PvP game mode where you choose 3 of your characters and you send them out versus 3 other characters of your opponents. And they do like a 3v3 AI thing. So it's like Alliance Conquest, but it's an individual battle. And I think that would be a wonderful addition to Marvel Future Fight. Because the thing with Timeline Battle is there's just not that many characters to go around, right? If you look here, you're going to see Thanos, Spider-Man, Adam Warlock, Thanos, Spider-Man, Adam Warlock, Thanos, Spider-Man, Adam Warlock, Thanos, oh, Molecule Man Thanos. You see what I'm saying, right? We've talked about this before, so I'm not going to belabor the point. I'm not going to beat a dead horse. There's no variety in Timeline Battle. But rather than begging the devs to change Timeline Battle, I just honestly, it's very simple. I wish there was a fun game mode where I could use Juggernaut for PvP. I wish there was a fun PvP game mode where I would be rewarded for using Juggernaut, where I would be rewarded for building more than just one team, right? One team that I just cycle through and based on the flavor of the month or whatever, I just cycle through different characters. So that's why it's kind of difficult. The review of Juggernaut is he's good, but there are better options, right? That's ultimately the review. I sort of said that without saying that throughout the video, so I'm getting to the end here and I want to summarize it in a way that's more clear and more explicit. I like Juggernaut a lot. Unfortunately, I do think there are better options if you are just meta chasing. However, I really want him to have a place in the game, and I feel like the game is kind of outgrowing itself because they're putting out these amazing reworks, and there isn't a place really to use some of these characters who are clearly only for PvP or mostly for PvP, but they have no home besides Alliance Conquest. So yeah, that's really it for Juggernaut. I would say energy if you want to see if the chain hit's really gonna do a big bump for him and you really want to use him for PvE content. Rage might be a little bit more fun. The problem with Rage, I will admit this, so chain hit damage holds the energy back from being better. That's why I can't wholeheartedly recommend energy. I can't wholeheartedly recommend Rage for Juggernaut because he doesn't have guaranteed crit rate, so that might be quite annoying. And then I can't wholeheartedly recommend a regen and a PvP build or even an authority PvP build because I know most of you don't play Alliance Conquest. But if you do, hey, this is a great update for you. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel about Juggernaut. I'll make a follow-up video about this sort of other game mode that I really wish MFF would do. But essentially, for those of you wondering in a little bit more depth what I'm talking about, I basically wish that there was like another timeline battle, like just split it into 2. That might give you nightmares for some of you, but for everyone else that likes this game enough like I do, basically this second timeline battle would be the same as the current timeline battle, except all 3 characters would fight at the same time. It would be like a brawl, sort of a, the whatever that 3 versus 3, the Rumble mode in Shadowland, it would be like that. And you would basically get points, or there would be some sort of incentive to use different teams, to use maybe thematic teams that are all the same type, like all combat, all blast, or they would be thematic in a different way. They're all gamma radiation characters, or they're all heroes, or they're all Spider-Verse, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, I really think that would do a lot, and that would really sell a lot of these characters that otherwise end up being just off meta enough to be ignored by a lot of the player base. So yeah, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of the big Juggernaut. I might do a follow-up video if I really like his PvP performance, but keep in mind, he at the moment in PvP, in 1 versus 1 PvP, he's probably living in this green monster's shadow, and there's not too much that I can do about that. So yeah, thanks for watching. Smash the like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.